with the host, B. Alan Bourgeois.
Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hey, welcome to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, B. Alan Bourgeois, and I have with us Alexa Bigwarfe, who has written a lot of things that help authors. She is what we call an author's guru. Welcome, Alexa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. So let's jump right into who are you and how did you get into being an author's guru?
So there's a very long backstory on that, and it was not something I set about to do intentionally. So I'll try to give you the shortest version possible. And it has to do with loss, actually. As with a lot of people who have something very significant happen in their lives, they often will turn to something to deal with that loss. And we had the unfortunate incident of losing one of our infant daughters when she was 2 days old. And I took that and started blogging because I needed a place to just release all of my everything, my grief, my anger, my everything. I had a lot of emotions and I took to writing to deal with that. And I started blogging for not only for grieving parents, but for all kinds of stuff, how to support moms and all this stuff. And about 18 months later, I decided I wanted to do more. I had always wanted to write books, and I decided that grieving mothers needed a resource to help them. So I gathered a bunch of other grieving parents, and we put together a collection of beautiful essays to help mothers in this really difficult time after the loss of a child. And it was called Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother. What I didn't know was going to happen was that I was going to absolutely fall in love with the process of self-publishing books. And it bites you. I think authors know this feeling, like you write one and you release it and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this again and again and again. So we moved into, I had 3 other children and I was writing a lot about parenting. So I wound up co-authoring a parenting book. And as I started publishing more books, people were coming to me saying, how are you doing this? How are you getting your books on Amazon? How are you, what's the process, all of this? So at one point in time, I stopped giving away a lot of free advice and started telling people, how about this? I know how to do the layout. I know how to get your book up on Amazon. I'll help you. And I kind of started a business, and it has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown.
So when did you start the business? What year?
That would have been, officially the first book was published in 2013. I would say I officially decided I was going to do this as a business probably early 2015. Okay, maybe a little bit later. So we're going about 3.5, 4 years now into it.
Yeah, and even during that 4 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in the publishing world again.
Yes.
I mean, it's been changing for the last 10, 20 years, but it continues to change.
It has been a fascinating time to be involved in the publishing industry, because during that time, everything started, I started blogging in 2011, 2012, and just what's happened to self-publishing since that point in time. And, we all went through the thing of the e-readers, and, print was just going to die. It was going to go away. And then the resurgence of print and all the stuff, the evolution of what's available for self-published authors, and how accessible the right tools are now to help you as a self-published author, so that you have a really well-produced, professional, and successful book. And that's basically where I really pride myself on helping people, is helping them, because I understand not everybody wants to wait years to have their book picked up by a traditional publisher. There's a lot of reasons to just go forth and do it immediately. But if you do, you should rely on people who know what they're doing to help to get you there. You should have a good cover designer. You should have a good editor. You should have a good, all these interior layout, all these things, so that no one picks up your book and is like, oh, that's obviously self-published, and chucks it back in the the bin or wherever, the theoretical bin.
Right, and you bring up a good point, because when self-publishing actually started in the early 2000s, that was the immediate response from bookstores and from librarians was, this is crap, and off to the trash it went. And
Yes.
thankfully that has been changing because of people like you and myself who've helped authors better understand what they're doing,
Yes.
giving them the right resources and stuff. When you first started your business in 2015, what did you initially start offering as far as a service?
It's funny because I didn't really know what all I was going to be doing initially. I had taught myself layout, so I was using InDesign, and I was helping people do the inside of their book so that it looked like a book should look. Because it really annoys me as a reader, and especially now, knowing what I know, when I pick up a book that's like completely unjustified, and there's no page numbers, and there's no, there's no headers or footers. Sometimes that's appropriate, sometimes it's not, but it would drive me nuts. So that's where I started. Actually, was just helping people get their book designed, and then it led into helping them convert their ebooks, and then it just kind of led into helping them pick out their keywords and categories. As I learned and as I grew in my knowledge level, I started sharing more and more of that with other people.
And you mentioned the keyword there of sharing, because originally you started off just sharing all that information for free, and then you turned it into a business. There's a lot of self-published programs and YouTube videos of people just sharing the information.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to an author about those type of programs versus coming to you?
Okay, so that's a great question. And I think that there's a model and there's an appropriate program for everyone, but one size doesn't always fit all. So what happens when people come to me is I offer more of a personalized boutique-like experience. When someone comes in, I don't just I've evolved to the point where I no longer just offer layout, for example, because I've learned that an author needs so much more help along the way. You have so many questions. And after years of just answering questions, I started doing a more comprehensive package where I help people from like at the very beginning, or if they come in with an edited book, wherever they come in the process, I help them to look at the big picture. We look at making sure that their book is within industry standards. I help them set up their imprint if they want to have an imprint. We look at like using a launch team. Like it's more than just I don't just have clients who come to me anymore for an ebook conversion. They come to me for a publishing solution. And it's important to me because what I learned along the way is that it's so comprehensive, and this, it's so comprehensive. It's not just about you can have a great, well-written book. If the cover is bad, or if it's placed in the wrong category, it's gonna cause problems. So we look at it from a really comprehensive perspective. And I'm happy to share free resources with people. I'm happy to send them to other people. If all they want is an ebook conversion and all they want is a layout, that's fine. But I really, really try to help people understand that depending on their goals, if their goal is to sell a lot of books, to have a successful book, to have a book that people look at and think is a good book, then we have a much larger, there's a lot of things to think about in the process.
Initially, when I introduced you, I called you an author guru. But in some respects, it seems what your business is more of a boutique. Would you say that's true, or do you have a particular frame of words you like?
I like to call myself an author coach or a book coach because I help people all the way through the process. Like if you come to me with just an idea, I can help you put it, map out your outline and start writing it and get your, deadlines and goals and all that kind of stuff hit. I'm definitely not a writing coach. Absolutely not a writing coach. That's really not my where I shine. And so I send people to other people. I'm not an editor, but I would say that I am a publishing expert as well, because I do have a publishing house, one for adult books and one for children's books. And I've spent a lot of time really learning the ins and outs of publishing. And really, this is a better answer to your question on the other self-publishing programs, is that there's a lot of people that can teach you how to put a book on Amazon. There's a lot of free stuff that can show you how to put a book on Amazon. And I try to stay up with publishing standards, to stay up with the trends are, to stay up with what the traditional publishing world is doing, so that our books are competitive with other books in the genres. And to me, that's what makes the difference. So I don't know. Yes, I'd say it's a boutique service in the fact that it's specialized, it's personalized, it's a custom solution for each person who comes in. But I wear a lot of different hats, and I'm still trying to figure out which hat I like best.
Well, in that case, then I'm going to force you to wear another hat for this question. Because you're in the publishing, and as she said, you're trying to keep up with everything and all the trends and stuff like that. So you mentioned Amazon. Mm-hmm. What is your recommendation for an author in reference to Ingram or Amazon or somewhere else?
I pretty much always say both, with a couple of exceptions. There's absolutely no reason not to put your book on Amazon 99% of the time, because one, you get higher royalties, obviously, if you're going direct through Amazon. And two, like, it is the #2 search engine in the world. So if people are coming to look for something, it's the natural instinct of a lot of people. I wish that I could honestly say that I always went to a local bookstore to find books, but a lot of times if I'm in a hurry, the first place and I need something, a resource or a reference, a lot of times I will quickly go where it's easy to me. And then when I'm browsing, I like to go to the bookstore and do the whole feel like that. But so there's no reason not to have it on Amazon. But of course, if you are trying to sell your books to bookstores, they adamantly refuse to buy from Amazon in almost all cases. And the last thing a bookstore owner wants to hear you say is, well, my book's been doing great on Amazon. so they need it there. Librarians will buy from both places. They don't have as many restrictions, but Ingram really, really opens you up to a true global distribution that Amazon does not.
Right. And that is definitely one thing I encourage my authors is to have as much of a footprint as you possibly can. Since Ingram is the company that is putting the books on Amazon, you're doing both. You're getting that exposure and stuff. So, well, it is at that point where we need to take a break for our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
Authors Marketing Guild is a membership-owned organization designed to help authors succeed and learn how to better market and sell themselves and their books. Join us at authorsmarketingguild.com and receive so many benefits you'll wonder why you didn't join sooner. That's authorsmarketingguild.com.
Thank you for watching or listening to Indie Beacon Radio. Our sponsor, IndieLector.store, is the only bookstore that pays authors their fair share for book sales. Help authors to succeed and enjoy a great book by supporting them at IndieLector.store. Enjoy a 10% discount with coupon code SHOPPER20 at IndieLector.store. Coupon valid until December 31st, 2020. That's IndieLector.store, coupon code SHOPPER20.
The 5th Annual Authors Marketing Event is coming to Granbury, Texas, July 24th through the 27th. Join us and learn from the professionals how to properly market and sell yourself and your books. Go to ame.authorsmarketingguild.com for all the details. That's ame.authorsmarketingguild.com. We Fiction is a fun, fast-paced writing contest for any author team to create a book based on what readers submit for plot, characters, locations, and even plot twists. Learn more about this unique contest at wefiction.dearindie.org.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, Beyond Bourgeois, and I have with me Alexa Bigwarfe. Now, Alexa, you have a book that's off to your shoulder there. It says, Just Write It. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, this is actually a book that came together after, well, actually, it was a test project that went really well. Another entrepreneur friend and I wanted to see if we could create kind of like this series of power journals. Unfortunately, the series never really came out. I'm working on the second book right now. But in the meantime, it forced me to write a book that I'd had on my mind for quite a long time anyway. And it is a compilation of a lot of the fears that I see when working, particularly with entrepreneurs that want to write a book. This one is geared towards entrepreneurs, but so it's called Ditch the Fear and Just Write It. And it's a power journal to help you start your book, but it starts off with all of the common things that you need, the tools that you need, how you get started, how you find the content that you're going to write about, and tries to kind of like allay the fears that people have when it comes to time, or not feeling like they're the expert, or what if nobody likes my book, or what if nobody does this or that. So I interviewed many, I think there are 12, maybe 14 entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs in the book who used books to either grow their business, start their business, or their book completely changed their business, basically. And I asked them specific questions, and then I took those stories and I put them around this framework around the different fears that you might have and how you push through those. And then it's got like this 90-day sequence to follow to help you get started in the habit of writing that book. So it was a fun book to put together. It's a little bit different than a lot of other writing books that you get. So like, I mean, we talk about, since it is dedicated, you probably can't see that very well, but there are spaces for journaling and writing in there. And since it is a book mostly for entrepreneur women, we talk about things like the importance of self-care when you're trying to write a book, and, you know, collecting your data and identifying yourself as the expert, and saying affirmations and all those kind of like, you know, new age things that we are realizing really make a difference in how our mindset works around what we're doing. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and it's gotten pretty good feedback from a lot of people. So
Okay. Now you do something on your website, Write, Publish, Sell. It's called the Daily Brief. Tell us a little bit about that.
yes, I have not been so good at the daily brief since the summertime came along, but I am getting back to it very soon. So I was connected with a guy named Jeff almost about a year ago, who helps people get on Amazon Alexa. So ironically, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Amazon Alexa has daily briefs on pretty much any topic in the world that people are creating things on. So your goal is to have like 1 to 2 minute little snippets each day that people can listen to. So I was doing really well for a while there. I got to get back in the habit of it. But basically, it's about a minute, and we have the whole backlog on the website, but you can also access them from the skills, the daily briefing skills on your Amazon Alexa. And each morning, if there's a new one, you can listen to it. And it might be a clip on mindset. It might be a clip on publishing. It might be a clip on marketing. It might be a clip on writing. I try to go through series so that they kind of flow in an order that makes sense. And I think I'm moving more towards either all marketing or all mindset or all things of that nature, because it does get a little bit crazy to jump back and forth and around. But yeah, they're just really short snippets if you're looking for a little bit of extra expertise or encouragement or whatever in your writing journey.
And that's definitely is needed for a lot of authors, especially those that have children. As you know, they can be distracting and get you off that track, and you need that help to get back on track. And
That's
it doesn't
right.
matter. I mean, not only the kids, but your pets or family life or whatever. I mean,
Exactly.
anything can come along. So that's very good to have. Excuse me. You have other books behind you, so we've got about 5 minutes left for this segment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your books there?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I don't know how much I mentioned. I mentioned that I had a publishing house, but what happened along my journey was that there were certain books that, as I was helping the author work through, I realized I didn't want to just leave at the end of their, once they self-published. So I started a publishing house Sunshine After the Storm, actually. I created the imprint, and it's kind of, Cat Biggie Press has kind of grown along the way, and people kept coming to me and asking for help with children's books, and I just didn't have the expertise, but they kept coming and they kept coming. So finally I forced myself to learn the children's book world too, and we started Purple Butterfly Press, which is just for children's books. So this was my very first children's book that I did with the author Jody Smith, and it's called Princess Monroe and Her Happily Ever After. And then we have back in the back, You Can Call Me Caitlin, which is just a beautifully illustrated book about a little girl who doesn't like her name and decides she wants to change her name and kind of reinvent herself. Great story along there. And then
a lot of kids that love doing that.
Yes, exactly. It's a hot topic these days. But then I have Lose the Cape, Realities from Busy Modern Moms and Strategies to Survive. That was the first co-authored book that I did, and started a Lose the Cape series on parenting books that were a lot of fun. Sunshine After the Storm, the original book right there. And then this one is my most recent, whoops, it just fell down. My most recent book published is called What Do I Do? And it's a step-by-step guide to help anyone who is supporting a friend or family member whose child has died. So it's a really, really important resource written by Kimberly Calabresi, and it just came out in August. It's the book that I wish I had written, and so I'm just completely honored to be a part of her publishing process, and that she came along with me on that journey. And then our first fiction book in the lineup through Cat Biggie Press is called Our Duty, and it's a really interesting book about World War II, about nurses in World War II. And Jerry was originally going to write kind of a memoir of her, I guess it wouldn't be a memoir because it was her mother's story, but her mother and her mother's best friends who were nurses during World War II. And she decided to write a fiction book so that she could have a little more leeway. But if you like books about nurses and World War II and good friendship stories, Our Duty is a great book. Who knows if this will come out near Veterans Day or not, but plug for the World War II books.
All right, and with the couple minutes we have left, tell me the one thing you see authors doing wrong the most.
Oh my gosh, hands down, it's not understanding marketing and how much they have to market. Because you can do a great book and there's so many resources to help you with the book, but then you launch and nothing happens and they don't understand why. And if I could do it all over again, I would start with nothing but email list building from day one, and just, growing that audience and growing that group of people who are interested in the types of books that I'm writing and publishing, because it's hard work. It's hard work. And I would say that's the second part of it, is that until you've built that, like a lot of people, I think this is kind of just American culture. Like, we like the easy route. We want the easy button, the easy pill, the easy diet, the easy whatever. And, no, what was it that I heard someone say the other day? No overnight success is ever an overnight success. They're 10 years in the making. And our goal is to hopefully not spend 10 years in the making, but it does take work. And you have to understand that as an author, that you're not going to see sales unless you're willing to do the work.
Yes, I have said that so many times myself. So I fully understand what you're saying there. And this is a perfect time for us to step away and let our sponsors do their thing, and we'll be right back.
Join Texas Authors on May 30th in Seguin, Texas for the first Texas Authors Only Book Festival celebrating Texas Authors and Writers Month. Learn more about this fun family event at lonestar.bookfestival.network. That's lonestar.bookfestival.network, and join us at the Seguin Events Complex on May 30th. The 5th Annual Authors Marketing Event is coming to Granbury, Texas, July 24th through the 27th. Join us and learn from the professionals how to properly market and sell yourself and your books. Go to ame.authorsmarketingguild.com for all the details. That's ame.authorsmarketingguild.com.
my friends. My name is Randy James, independent voiceover producer in the Dallas, Texas area, available to write and record a 30-second commercial, much like the one you're hearing right now. It's a great way to help increase awareness and exposure to your book title. It's easy to do. Simply call me and we'll brainstorm on a few ideas, and in a few hours, I'll whip something up and send you a digital file ready to use. Remember, call or text me, Randy James, at 214-762-1942. Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back. This is your host, Beyond Bourgeois. You are either watching or listening to Indie Beacon Radio, and we greatly appreciate that. We have with us Alexa Bigwarfe, who has been talking about her, I'm going to say, boutique for authors, whether you're trying to get your book published or just need author coaching or things of that nature. So, Alexa, I've got to ask, because, I mean, come on, it's a question that must be asked. Do you have an Alexa at home that goes crazy every time somebody says your name?
We changed the name to Echo Dot.
I'd done that myself.
But it's funny, it never fails, because I do a lot of podcast interviews and we run an annual online summit for writers, and it never fails in the interviews. Somebody's Alexa goes off or music starts playing or something. So it's always a source of entertainment.
Yes, and that's why the question, because mine has gone off twice. So
I'm sure.
I appreciate you allowing me that sense of humor for that moment. So
Sure.
So for the aspect of your boutique, your coaching and things of that nature, how can people find you and get a hold of you?
Yes, so I am very active on social media. We are Write, Publish, Sell on Facebook. I think it's Write, Pub, Sell with Alexa Bigwarfe on Facebook, and Write, Publish, Sell on Instagram. My website is currently writepublishsell.co, but I just bought the .com finally, so we're going to go official on that. And then I would also like to encourage, especially the women, but the men as well. We produce so much great content, but I run an annual online conference called the Women in Publishing Summit at womeninpublishingsummit.com. And it's a full week of free resources and tons of education and materials to come in. But yeah, that's pretty much, if you look for Alexa Bigwarfe or Write, Publish, Sell, you will find me.
And you mentioned, of course, you have a publishing company. Are you taking submissions, or are those part of your clients?
We are open for submissions with Cat Biggie Press and Purple Butterfly Press. It is a hybrid publishing company, so people do need to understand what that means and what that is, but all the information is on our website. And basically, a hybrid publishing is a partnership publishing. And the reason I went that route, just quickly, is because there's a lot of people that still want to be published by a publisher, but don't have the I guess I would say the audience built up yet to sell their books. So we partner, and it's been a great fit for all of our authors thus far. And we'll close submissions at the end of the year, probably end of November. And we only take a handful of books each year. I do 4 in children's and 4 in women's books, women's fiction and nonfiction.
Okay. With the last minute we have, do you have any words of encouragement or something you want to share with the audience?
You know, I would just say to stick to it. It gets really frustrating really, really quickly, and it can seem so overwhelming. There's so many things to do. We tell you to do 1,050,000 things to continue to grow the author platform and do all the things, but just do it a little bit at a time, a little bit every day. Stay consistent. And if you stay consistent and you continue to market yourself and continue to do the things that you're learning on this radio show and that other guests are sharing, you will get there, I promise.
Great. Well, that is a perfect spot to stop the show. I thank you very much for your time and your energy, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll be hearing from you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creation.
Indie Beacon Radio with the host, B. Alan Bourgeois.
Indie Beacon Radio is produced by B. Alan Bourgeois for Authors Marketing Guild, LLC, copyright 2020.
Voiceover by Randy James, Lydia Bello, and Beyond Bourgeois. To be a sponsor of the show or for more information, please email us at info@authorsmarketingguild.com. To be interviewed for the show, please complete the form at radio.authorsmarketingguild.com. Music Always Rejoice by Ramcord